Hello, friends, family, boys, and squirrels. My name's David, and I am a squirrel. In April 2024, this year, under the direction of President Biden, the FCC classified Internet Service Providers, or ISPs, as Title II companies, allowing the FCC to enforce net neutrality rules. I think that net neutrality is great for consumers, but before we get to that discussion, we need to know what net neutrality is. It takes a while for the dust to settle and for the public to find out what was happening behind closed doors. So rather than looking at what was happening now in 2024, we're going to go back and look at what happened in 2017. In 2017, the FCC under Trump repealed net neutrality regulation. With any complex political story, there are two sides and they both have a lot of truth, so it can help to hear both of those sides. I have a couple clips here. First, we'll see a clip of Jimmy Kimmel's monologue from 2017, where he explains why liberals think repealing net neutrality rules was bad for consumers. And then we'll see a clip of Ajit Pai responding. Ajit Pai is the conservative FCC chairman from 2017. In the clip, he's explaining why repealing net neutrality was the right thing to do.
This is the rule that says everyone gets equal access to the internet. A big company or somebody selling crocheted owls from their house in the Midwest. Now, as long as they tell us they're doing it now, internet service providers will be allowed to slow down or block web traffic to any website or streaming service they like, which benefits the big telecom companies and does the opposite for all of us. Big corporations are about to take full control of the internet.
Ajit, boil this down for us, because it feels complicated, because one says net neutrality looks fair and equal, yet what you've done has opened it up, as you said, to a free and open internet. Simply put, what are people missing? What does this boil down to?
What it boils down to is, should the government micromanage how the internet works? For 20 years before 2015, starting with President Clinton, we decided no. We wanted to have a free market approach in which innovators could innovate and consumers could benefit. And the results speak for themselves. Companies like Facebook and Amazon and Netflix and Google became global giants precisely because the government wasn't involved. That is the light touch framework to which we are returning, and that's part of the reason why I think so much of this hysteria is simply misplaced. As we will see going forward, getting this regulatory system right means better, faster, cheaper internet access for all Americans across the country.
Ajit Pai is a lawyer, and that's the right kind of person to have in charge of regulation. But as a technical person myself, I like to hear any event discussed by technical people, especially something that affects the internet. YouTube channel Level 1 Techs reacts to all kinds of events from the perspectives of a system administrator and a web developer. In the clip that I'm about to show you, Ryan starts by clarifying their position and their biases. And then Wendell shares his reaction to the 2017 debate.
We support net neutrality, and we identify that, yes, it's regulation, and we usually are against regulation. And
we don't even need to read the article. This has been the most toxic spectacle that I've seen in a very long time. We don't even have to make fun of it. It makes fun of itself.
These clips are mostly focusing on the outcome of net neutrality or its impact. So let's talk a little more about what net neutrality is. Net neutrality is used to refer to a set of rules that the FCC may choose to adopt to regulate ISPs. Different people will have different definitions and different ideas of what exact rules should be included under the umbrella of net neutrality. The power that the FCC has to enforce these rules is limited by whether ISPs are classified under Title I as general communication companies or under Title II as a common carrier. Electrical utilities and airlines are two examples of common carriers, and as such, they're subject to more regulations than other kinds of companies like gas stations. The rules included in net neutrality may each be good or bad for consumers. You can probably think of regulations applied to your electrical utility that you do like, and some that you don't. So, is net neutrality good for consumers in general? ISPs want the public to believe that the company interests align with what is best for consumers. But over time, reporters and lawyers have been able to find evidence that the ISPs knowingly oppose their own customers. Before major rule changes, the FCC has to have a public comment period. The 2017 comment period was part of that toxic spectacle that Wendell was talking about. An unprecedented 22 million comments was submitted for the FCC to read through. With so many comments, it's really hard to draw conclusions about what consumers thought. But it was clear that very few of those comments were from real people. 4 years later, in 2021, The Verge wrote this article on a report from the New York Attorney General's office. If you're interested, The Verge included the report at the end of their article. The Verge says that out of 22 million comments submitted to the FCC, 4 million of those were legitimate. The other 18 million were fake. Of those fake comments, 8 million were submitted by 3 publicity companies representing ISPs. These fraudulent comments were submitted using the real personal details of 8 million Americans. While the ISPs weren't found to have direct knowledge of the fraud, the 3 contracted companies agreed to settlements requiring them to pay a total of $4 million. These companies wouldn't have gone to these lengths if they thought that general public opinion was on their side. They could have gotten those contacts in more legal ways. While the Attorney General's office couldn't find evidence linking an ISP to the fraud, I do believe that they had an intentional part in making it happen, even if it was only through setting goals that were impossible to achieve legally. John Oliver humorously encouraged the public to engage back in 2017.
I am calling upon all of you, the internet's time wasters and troublemakers, to join me once more in just 5 to 10 minutes of minor effort.
4 million real comments were submitted, and studies found that they were overwhelmingly in favor of net neutrality. Did these efforts have an impact on the FCC?
And we're in for a lot more news about this, but we've lost this round. So.
It's going to be an endless news cycle.
It's 2024, and the FCC, under President Biden, just reenacted Title II regulation. So we've won now, right? Well, not yet. There are some lawsuits challenging the FCC's recent changes, and President Trump is, once again, likely going to be on the ballot in November. We'll also need to make sure the FCC doesn't try to pass off anti-consumer rules or loopholes under the guise of net neutrality, or try to misuse their expanded power in other ways. If you want to stay informed and be engaged, you can look for more information at commoncause.org and from the Electronic Frontier Foundation at EFF.org. I'll link to those resources and all my sources in the video description. Thanks for watching my video.